Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to episode number 26 of the Washington football team franchise here on Madden NFL 22. And today we have a live yearly recap episode as we recap everything that happened in year one for the Washington football team, the last season of the Washington football team. We'll be going over team stats, player stats, as well as the coaching carousel and look at the Pro Bowl rosters to see who made it for the AFC and the NFC. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. So last episode, the Washington football team you saw got beat in the divisional round. We got beat pretty good by the Seattle Seahawks, which means our season came to an end and our time as a Washington football team has come to an end. As you remember, we are moving to Toronto next season and rebranding as the Toronto Thunderbirds. Got beat 44-17. The defense just looked non-existent, and the offense was not awake for enough of the time. We let Russell Wilson pass for 443 yards and 4 touchdowns. On the ground, we gave 156 and a score to Chris Carson, and Tyler Lockett had 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. As Tyler Lockett played the Seahawks twice, he scored 4 total touchdowns against us. So, fortunately, our season came to a whimper. You can see it is going to be Seahawks and Chiefs in Super Bowl 56, a first-time matchup. As the Chiefs look for their third straight Super Bowl, the Seahawks look for Super Bowl win number 2. But that's not why we're here. We're here to look at the Washington football team, who finished 10-7 to end their season. We'll start by looking at the team stats to see how we did overall. We had 6,995 offensive yards, which was the best offensive team in football. But we gave up 6,334 defensive yards, so we were 30th on defense, 6th in points scored, 470. And then we were 24th in points allowed with 440. So at least we were a little bit of a bend, but don't break defense. But if you look at that, we averaged 27.6 points per game. Best offense, like we said. Passing-wise, we were 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in passing. But rushing, we were dominant rushing the football. Antonio Gibson had a phenomenal season, which you'll see in just a second. But unfortunately, our defense was not as good passing yards-wise. We were the worst pass defense. And then rushing yards-wise, we were the best rush defense. So polar opposites. You can see where it is that we need to work on this season. We'll skip conversions. Red zones I do want to take a look at. In the red zone, we had a total of 66 trips, came away with 33 touchdowns, 19 field goals, which you like to see that be a little bit. I'd rather have more touchdowns than once we allowed. Turnovers, this is where we really struggled. We were worst in the league with -20. Gave the ball away 33 times. We had some troubles with picks in the first 2/3 of the season. We took the ball away, 19 interceptions. It didn't quite feel like 19 interceptions. Oh, no, we threw 19 interceptions. I was about to say, there's no way we had 19 interceptions. We only had 6, which was bottom of the league. Did force 7 fumbles, which is up there, but we only had 13 takeaways. You can see that's in the bottom 1/3 of the league. So have some areas to improve on going into the next season. But we'll take a look. Before I take a look at the player stats, I want to take a look at the records because there were a couple that happened this season. Now, first one is passing yards. We touched about it. Tom Brady had 5,400 passing yards this season. That now puts him first all time in passing yards. He passes Drew Brees, and Tom Brady has that crown. As with Drew Brees finally retiring, they're not going to go back and forth any longer. It is all Tom Brady. And we see Ben Roethlisberger currently sitting 6th as well. And Matt Ryan is 8th. So, and then Aaron Rodgers is 10th. So a couple of active passers up there. Passing touchdowns, Tom Brady had 46, which puts him tied with Drew Brees' 46 in 2011. But the one I want to touch on is rushing yards. We know Antonio Gibson had a very good season, but he actually set the NFL record with rushing yards in a season, 2,151 yards. Yes, I know that there are 17 games now, so probably wouldn't have had it if it wasn't for that 17th game, but Antonio Gibson is your NFL all-time rushing yard leader in a season, so that is really cool. We did see him break the rushing yards in a game. He had 330 in that one game against Dallas. So Antonio Gibson had himself a heck of a season. We'll go into player stats now and start off with the quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick had 5,062 passing yards, had a very good season at the age of 39. So a former Harvard grad, 30 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, 69% completion percentage. He had a really good year. Signed to a 1-year deal from Miami. He's honestly in contention for comeback player of the year with those numbers. But the question really is Fitzpatrick is 39. Is he going to be the quarterback next season? He is a free agent. He's about to turn 40. And with this team going to be in Toronto next season, do they want to go into the new season with a new face? That's a very big question. And I don't know. We'll have to take a look. Quarterback is definitely going to be one of the biggest interesting stories of the offseason for this team. He might just retire and, not even save us the problem of worrying about if Fitzpatrick's going to be the quarterback next year. But Fitzpatrick had a very good 2021 season. Antonio Gibson, 2,100 rushing yards like we just saw on 426 attempts, 126.5 per game. I mean, you can tell bell cow back to the fullest. Only had 9 touchdowns, you would think, for that. Sorry, my computer's battery life is going dead. That's why you heard that little ding. But he had a very good season. We saw him reach superstar dev, and he's really turned into a phenomenal back. Ratings in a very good spot. So he can catch the football as well. A 3-down back. Fitzpatrick also had 4 rushing touchdowns on the ground. McKissick only had 17 carries. He did have a touchdown, but I did like what I saw when McKissick did touch the football. I'd like to space this out a little bit, give McKissick more carries, and not let Gibson just be the every down back. We also did, remember, have Adrian Peterson towards the beginning of the season for a couple of games. He chipped in as well. Receiving-wise, we did have an 1,000-yard receiver. Logan Thomas hit 1,040 yards with 7 touchdowns. The former Virginia Tech quarterback had himself a very good season at age 31. I was very happy for him. He's a very good, underrated tight end. McLaurin had 889 yards with 5 scores. It's a little bit of a down year for McLaurin on 58 catches. He made the most of his catches, but didn't quite get the targets that he necessarily warranted. He is going to be a free agent after next season, so we'll have to pay a pretty penny if we want to keep Terry McLaurin around, and I hope he wants to stay in Toronto. Gibson also almost had 100 receptions out of the backfield. He was our top target, 754 yards. And Adam Humphries had 7 touchdowns on 58 catches and only played in 13 games. Ended this season with a couple of back-to-back touchdown days. I don't know if Adam Humphries, will be back next season. Turned a little injury prone, as he also looks way different, by the way. Nice solid slot receiver, but I think we might try to go in a different direction that next year. Curtis Samuel had a very good season. Only had 39 catches for 567 yards and a touchdown, but he only played in 9 games. If he would have played the whole season, he might have eclipsed Logan Thomas, as Logan Thomas didn't get as much work down the stretch. But I'm very excited to have Curtis Samuel around for a full season next year. Very speedy, very good deep threat. You can take the top off the defense, can get off the line as well. Him and McLaurin, I want to take advantage and really push the ball downfield with McLaurin and Samuel. De'Ami Brown, the rookie out of North Carolina, had a very good year as well. 44 catches, 476 yards, and 3 scores. A nice solid. Stepped into that number 3 when Humphries was hurt and really separated himself from Cam Sims, who didn't really play much down the stretch. And then you had John Bates, the former Boise State Bronco, who had 11 catches. Stepped into more of a role once we cut Ricky Seals-Jones. Then McKissick had 8 catches, but 2 of them were touchdowns. For the offensive line, here's a look at our offensive line. Worst one was Eric Flowers. He gave up 13 sacks. Don't know if we'll bring back Eric Flowers. He's 28 years old. Might be looking for a new left guard. Left tackle was Charles Lena, who came over this year, and he didn't really look that great as well. He's also a free agent. I think he's looking for a 2-year contract. Don't know if I want to give him that 2-year deal, so he could be trying to replace our left tackle and left guard. Cornelius Lucas started most of the year at right tackle for 14 games, but eventually got benched for the rookie Sam Cosmi. And I think in the games that Sam Cosmi did play, I did think he looked pretty solid. Obviously, he was a rookie. He was on that right side. There's a lot of good pass rushers in this league. But I did think he held his own. I don't know if he really should be a starter, but I think he outperformed what we thought of Cosmi, so he'll probably be the right tackle next year. Brandon Scherf had a little bit of a down year for being such a good right guard, but he is signed for 3 more seasons and will anchor that spot. And then Chase Rollier, the center, I thought he played decent, could have played better, but he is going to be turning 30, and I don't want to replace too many offensive linemen, so I think the right side will be fine. I just think we have to replace the left side. On defense, our leading tackle was Landon Collins. He had 115 tackles, followed by Cameron Curl, 111. This is the side of the football I would have liked to say play a lot better, especially with Ron Rivera. They played very good last year. Our strength is our defensive line. I don't think it was their fault. Our run defense, like you saw, was phenomenal. Matthew Ioannidis had 16 sacks. That's a career high for him. Chase Young in his sophomore campaign had 12 and a half, and he didn't even play every game. He actually only played, he missed 2 games with injury. So probably would add a few more. And Montez Sweat also broke out. So we have a dominant line. Montez Sweat, we saw him also reach superstar development, had 10 sacks. And also look at the tackles for loss. 19 for Ioannidis, 18 for Chase Young, 11 for Sweat, and then we got 29 for Josh Allen, who also kicked in at 9.5 sacks. This is, I would like to say, the best defensive line in football. With so many first-round draft picks, that's what's bound to happen. But we can't keep all of them because not even Daron Payne, who's also a very solid defensive tackle, he didn't even see the field a lot of the time. Only had 2 sacks, especially with the emergence of Montez Sweat. And Ioannidis have 16 sacks. Maybe we can deal Payne in the offseason and maybe get some quality other linebackers or something, or maybe some good draft picks to draft somebody. But I do think we need to move on with one of those guys. There's no point in having good 5 linemen like that and not try to capitalize somewhere else. The linebackers is where we struggled, and not only because of the pass game, they also were hurt a lot of the time. Cole Holcomb had 103 tackles. He was good in run defense. In my opinion, really struggled in pass defense. Kelechi Hudson as well. He had to step up thanks to the injury to Yamin Davis. We also played this year without our first-round rookie, probably our best coverage linebacker. So that hurt us as well. It'll be nice to get him back this year, but I'd like to see the linebackers play a little better. John Bostic was much non-existent after leading last year's team in tackles. So that's really a spot I'd like to see us step up. Another area I'd like to see us step up is in interceptions. We only had 6 picks this season. Kendall Fuller and William Jackson III both had 2. I like our corners, but I thought we gave up too many big plays, especially Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller is supposed to be our number 1 corner, but I thought he got beat a lot over the top. He gave up a lot of deep balls. William Jackson gave up a few, not as much. I think he was better than Fuller in my opinion, but I'd like to see Fuller step it up next year, especially he's going to be hitting age 28. Might see a little bit of regression, so I need Fuller. Might be a make or break year for him next year. Curl played pretty solid at free safety. Landon Collins was decent. He's not as fast as some of these other safeties, so he is also prone to get beat over the top. More of a box safety. Might even experiment with letting him play a little bit of nickel next year or big in the linebacker spot. See how he works down there. But I think Collins is better towards the front of the line. I don't think I really capitalized on that so much this season. But I think the defense really needs to step up. In terms of league leaders, we'll take a look at the league leaders real quick to see who led in each category. Starting with the passing game, Tom Brady, we saw him set those records. He was first. Fitzpatrick was second, followed by Matt Ryan, who had a very good year for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if it'll necessarily be his swang song, so it'll be interesting to see what Atlanta does in the offseason. Mahomes, 4,800 yards, followed by Mac Jones, who made a very strong case for Rookie of the Year, 4,600 yards, 39 touchdowns, 10 picks for him. And then we see Winston, Rodgers, Herbert. As far as touchdowns go, the leader was Tom Brady with 46. Pat Mahomes was the only other one with 40. And then Mac Jones and Justin Fields. These are the 2 candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'd probably give it to Mac Jones, though. Interceptions, 20 for Brady. He did pass a lot, so he was prone to some interceptions, as well as Ryan. So 2 veterans. 2 of the top 3 passers also were leaders in interceptions, followed by Fitzpatrick. So there is your top 3 in passing yards, were also your top 3 in interceptions. Kind of funny. Sam Darnold, he just sucks as a Panthers fan. Don't get me started on him. Justin Herbert had 16. Baker Mayfield also had 16. Tyrod Taylor, I thought Tyrod played pretty good stepping up for Houston with no Deshaun Watson. Rushing yards, leader was Antonio Gibson. We know that. He led almost by 100 extra carries. Yeah, I don't need to run Gibson that much next season. Then we have Elliott, who had 1,800, followed by Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb. Najee Harris, that's a very good year for the rookie out of Alabama. I didn't even realize Najee Harris. He actually got up to superstar. Maybe Najee Harris deserves an Offensive Rookie of the Year. I didn't even look at the running backs, but that's a phenomenal season. Then we have Chris Carson and Saquon Barkley. As far as touchdowns go, we have 17 for Zeke. Jamal Williams also had 17. Look at Jamal Williams of the Detroit Tigers vulturing at the line of scrimmage. Only had 666 yards and yet had 17 touchdowns. Receiving your leader was Calvin Ridley of 1,400 yards, followed by George Kittle for tight ends. Randall Cobb, and reuniting with Rodgers, had 1,400 yards. Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, A-Rob, Chris Godwin, Kelsey are towards the top. Your receiving touchdowns, Allen Robinson had 16. Jamar Chase, another player who can win Offensive Rookie of the Year, had 15. Randall Cobb had 12, and Demarcus Robinson had 12, as well as DK Metcalf. As far as sacks go, your sack leader was Khalil Mack, who had 21. Grady Jarrett also had 20, followed by Frank Clark and Justin Houston. Tackle leader was Eric Wilson of the Eagles. Interceptions, Dante Jackson had 8. So the Panther with 8 interceptions, followed by Fred Warner with 6. That's great for a linebacker. And Marshawn Lattimore as well. So that'll do it for most of it. We'll actually take a look at the Pro Bowl rosters real quick. My computer's actually getting ready to die, so I'm trying to wrap this up. Here, look at the rosters. You can see we had a couple of Pro Bowlers. Ryan Fitzpatrick made it. Antonio Gibson made it as well, so that's 2. No wide receivers. No tight ends, so Thomas didn't make it. I don't expect to see any. Oh, no, we actually had Brandon Scherf made it. Don't know if he really should have, but he made it for right guard. On defense, I expect us to dominate here. Chase Young had a Pro Bowl. Ioannidis, Jonathan Allen. No linebackers by no surprise, and no secondary. I think Gibson should have made it for a return game, because remember, he had at least 2 return touchdowns, but I don't know if they'll give him to it twice, so they go with Cordell Patterson for a kick return. Now that's going to do it for the main. I do have one more thing I'd like to touch on, and that is coaching carousel. So I started this season with 32 team control, and I kind of messed up by having them I picked everybody's goals for wins and stuff, not thinking that it would break the game. But knowing Madden, I said make it to the Super Bowl for the Buccaneers, so I thought that was realistic, and they fired Bruce Arians. All right, doesn't really make much sense. The Patriots also fired their coach despite being the best team in the AFC. So I kind of had to go back and make some changes to the coaching carousel, and we actually had a big move of our own. So Ron Rivera, with the team moving to Canada next year, decided that he didn't want to coach in Canada, so he actually stepped down as our head coach. So we have a new head coach in what's going to be Toronto, and it is going to be Sean McVay. He is the head coach of the Washington football team, the former Rams coach. He was actually a part of Washington when Jay Gruden was a coach. He was the offensive coordinator, so he reunites in Washington. Let me know what you guys think of that as well. We also had some other changes to our staff. We actually have a whole new staff. Our offensive coordinator actually got hired as a head coach. I can't remember where he went off the top of my head, but we had to replace our offensive coordinator with Jamie Rodriguez. And then our defensive coordinator, we fired our defensive coordinator, and we brought in the guy who comes with Sean McVay from LA. And if you remember, LA was actually the worst team in the league last year. So new changes. We'll have to see if they're for the positive or the negative, but McVay's going to get another chance. He brings in a couple of guys who are familiar with him. So we'll have a new scheme next year as well. That'll be interesting. But that's going to do it for this one. My computer's actually getting ready to die, and I don't have the charger with it. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. Off-season will probably either be next weekend or the weekend after. I don't know if I'm going out of town next weekend. So we'll have the live stream in the next couple of weeks. Next episode will be the Super Bowl, and I'll have a little bit of an awards show for you guys. But this is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.